welcome everyone to the Focus TV's another week. We're happy to be here. A lot has happened since the last time we spoke. We're going to get through everything in just a minute. First off, just want to welcome Octavia Wyatt, Cardo Dudley Jr., Malik Miller, and I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. Now, we're happy to get started this week. Kick things off. I'm a fill-in for Ray with the Washington Wizards. For those of you that have been following us along on, on Twitter and on YouTube and whatnot, as far as Wizards Outlook goes, we appreciate you guys. Been some late nights throughout this trip that's kind of started on the East Coast, went up north, and then moved out west. That said, let's get straight to it, though. With the Wizards. All right. Look, man, they started a 7-game road trip. They split games with the Raptors and the Pistons, having played each team twice at their respective stops. The win against the Pistons was followed by a very exciting finish against Denver, where we saw Jordan Poole hit a 35-foot game winner. Leading up to that game winner, though, we saw every member of Washington's rookie class really leave a big imprint across that game. Sarr made the headlines with I think it was 34-point performance, but Keyshawn was huge. I think 2 of his 3 triples came late in that game. You had Bub just providing a calm that typically youngsters don't have late in the game as a primary ball handler at times. Got JP to get off the ball and get free a couple times. But yeah, it was a really good win. Unfortunately for them, which is the game that you guys are seeing right now, things did not go well Monday night for Washington at all. Regardless of who was in and out of the lineups, there's a few things that are kind of non-negotiable. One being which their defensive effort wasn't up to par last night. And we've seen them at times, especially, talk about the back-to-back wins. They had to play defense for stretches of those games. Last night, rarely, if at all, past couple matchups when they faced Portland, we saw Denny Avdia get hurt in the first quarter of that game back in D.C. Shaedon Sharpe went nuts in that game. Anthony Simons was he scored, but it wasn't efficient. That wasn't the case last night. Anthony Simons had a great time. He led Portland with 30 points. He was super efficient in doing so. Washington has one more game on this grueling road trip. They'll face Utah Wednesday night before returning home to face Orlando. After the Wizards Outlook breakdowns from those respective games, they're up on the channel. So head over there if you want to catch those their entirety. To hear what our team had to say as we do after every game. Just break down each game a little bit more in depth. For those of you who aren't too familiar with Wizards Outlook, we obviously some great conversation, but player of the game, X factor, things of that nature, typically what happens. So for those of you, if you haven't seen it, hopefully we see you Wednesday night. That said, with Washington, some fun notes that have notes or nuggets that have popped up during this trip. At 19 years, 323 days, Alex Sarr is now the youngest player in franchise history to record a 30-point game, surpassing one John Wall. Anytime you do anything in the Wizards is in recent history and you pass John, probably did something positive. It's probably pretty high up there. Keyshawn George and Bub Carrington are just the third duo in NBA history to both make 100 threes. So shout out to both of them for that. For the trio, that's Carrington, Sarr, and George. They're the first trio in NBA history, first rookies, to hit 80 triples in a season, which is absurd, and it is great to see them doing that. And looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season goes. If who knows, maybe it's possible all 3 of them end up in the 100 club, which would be great. More importantly, focus on them finishing the regular season off, hopefully with some more W's. Some injury news: Corey Kispert, Washington Wizards guard forward Corey Kispert, underwent a successful surgical procedure today in New York City to repair a ligament tear to his left thumb. The injury was sustained in the third quarter against the Denver Nuggets on March 15th. Corey is expected to make a full recovery and be ready for the start of next season. So that's where we are as far as the Wizards go. Hopefully we'll see you guys a couple more times this week. But you guys know it's March, and with March, the madness is officially about to begin. So Cardell, going to pass this along to you and get started. I know you spent a lot of time at Capital One this past weekend. Might as well moved in. Floor is yours.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, man. But look, man, it all came to a head on Sunday. VCU in a memorable, intense A-10 championship game. Edge George Mason, 68-63 to punch their ticket to the big dance. Max Sugar, A-10 Player of the Year, scored 18 points. Joe Bamacil, who I'll talk about more late in a little bit, sealed the win with 2 free throws with a half second left. Bamacil, along with Jack Clark, who's named A-10 Tournament MVP, well, most outstanding player, scored 17 points for VCU. The record elevated to 28-6. Sugar also hit 8 and 9 from the line as the Rams overall as a team. They made 22 to 27 free throws in the game. Jalen Haynes led George Mason, first team All A-10 player, led George Mason with 17 points and 8 rebounds. Darius Maddox, who had outstanding tournament, had 12 points to go with 3 steals, and Zach Anderson and Braden O'Connor each added 10 points apiece. Look, man, VCU led by 8 at the break, 36-28, but George Mason got back-to-back 3-pointers from Jared Billups, A-10 defensive player of the year, and Woody Newton to cut the deficit for them to 2, 45-43, more than 12 minutes to play. Sugar then, right on time, as he always does, Sugar answered with the 3 and hit a pair of free throws before finding Jack Clark for another 3 to push VCU lead back up to 10, 53-43. Darius Maddox hit a 3 with 2:27 left to bring the Patriots within 1 at 59-58. Next, Sugar knocked down a big, almost honestly deflating step back 3 with 1:59 left. Then Jalen Haynes made a layup with 39 seconds left. They got George Mason within 3. George Mason had another chance to tie the game. They got to stop. With about I believe about 9 seconds left, Jalen Hayes dribbled the ball up the court, got inside, saw Zach Anderson spotting up, passed on the ball. The shot literally went in and out. 3-pointer to tie with 4 seconds left. And then Woody Newton was forced to foul Bamacil with a half second left. And like I said, Bamacil went to the line and made the 2 free throws to close the deal. The hell of a game. Both VCU and George Mason fan base represented. I believe it's the second most attended A-10 championship game in history. It was an exciting game, man. I loved it. It was a kind of NCAA tournament type feel in Capital One. It was very good, man. George Mason, I know they're kicking themselves because they had their chances to win. They really did. But I had to go back and look. They missed 20 layups in the game, 20 layups, 11 in the first half, 9 in the second half. If they made just a quarter of the layups they missed, they would have won the game by 5. Oh, well, 4, because they lost by a few. They would have won the game. Just a quarter of their layups. They didn't even have to make half of them. The VCU's length, man. That's the, I hate to say it, as close as they are as a team, VCU's length and depth up front. Their athleticism up front is the edge that they kind of have over George Mason in both meetings. They alter a lot of shots, man, and their bigs are not like, they can't deal with Jalen Haynes' bulk, but they meet him up there. So even though he'll knock them back, when he looks to shoot, they're already up there waiting on him and stuff like that. And it bothered him at times, and it bothered the guards once they got in the paint. And between Jack Clark and Bamgoya and Furman, who are all about 6'9 plus, can jump, slender guys, they can switch on guards and guard on the perimeter. It's just tough. And they're active on the perimeter as well. They're not even easy to get past on that end. And even if you do get the step, they are still behind you, looking to come behind the shot, block you or whatnot. So, they altered a lot of shots and forced a lot of misses that George Mason normally would have made against other teams. And that's just the difference, man. It's hard to overcome missing 20 layups in the game. It's just, especially in that type of atmosphere with everything on the line like that, it's just tough to overcome. Naturally, VCU, they received an at-large bid as an 11 seed in the NCAA tournament. They would face 6 seed BYU Thursday at 4:05. George Mason will host Sanford in the first round of NIT Wednesday at 7 p.m. Also, staying in the A-10 with another local program, George Washington. They accept an invitation to participate in the new NCAA postseason tournament, The Crown, which will be held in Las Vegas March 31st to April 6th. The Revolutionaries will face Boise State March 31st at 5:30 p.m.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on the quarter of the layups. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, it's hard to overcome that, man. It's just they was in there trying, and then obviously VCU had the edge on the free throw line, man. Like George Mason, they got him in a bonus. They had the opportunities. That turnovers were pretty much even, but it's just hard to overcome the layups. When you miss layups, that's like a turnover. It's just hard to overcome that because that's the most efficient shot of basketball. If you can't convert those, it gets tough, and then it gets in your head, and you worrying about the fouls and stuff. It's just a natural tendency to have a trickle down effect to other areas. So, nonetheless, man, hell of a game, hell of a finish, man. Honestly, to be real, both teams should have been tournament teams. If VCU's 11th, if it is an 11th seed, George Mason could have put him in the play-in there. You know what I'm saying? Because certain ACC school damn sure don't deserve to play. But we're gonna get to that later.
Yeah, there's so much petty I have to take Octavia's words about how people act about teams being blue bloods, and if they aren't, and if they aren't, if they are, and if they aren't, let alone this Make-A-Wish type activity that just happened. It's crazy. It's a travesty, but let me go ahead and get this out the way first, real quick. Maryland women's basketball. Been telling you guys how it was for them to finishing up the regular season. We didn't know what was going to happen. They had almost 2 seasons. You had when they were whole, they got off to a hell of a start this year. Lost Bree McDaniel, huge cog in the machine for them, big piece. Kind of had to tread water a little bit to find what they look like post Bree McDaniel. Then Shy Sellers hit with the injury bug. Had a very poor showing in the Big Ten tournament, which they alluded to on Selection Sunday. Cheyenne was talking about, that Maryland has a chip on their shoulder. They didn't have a good taste in their mouth about how they performed in the Big Ten tournament, which is great to know. In this day and age, it's always self-awareness is always a beautiful thing when we can't get it and accountability and whatnot. So Maryland looks like they're locked in and ready to go. That said, go ahead and get this up on the screen. This was them finding out their seeding earlier this week. Well, Sunday night, rather. Again, top 16 seeds in the country. You find out you're hosting. I didn't know how they were going to treat Maryland because, a lot of things are subjective. Sometimes quad 1 wins matter. Sometimes quad wins don't matter. If you're North Carolina, no wins matter. But again, we're going to leave that alone. We're going to focus here. I was happy with the committee that Maryland got credit for having a tough strength of schedule. The Big Ten is a beast. It is what it is. And this was the first year where you saw those former Pac-12 teams enter the Big Ten, which only can boost a good conference, having those teams join. That said, those other non-conference schedule helped them quite a bit. The Terps found out, as we just saw, that they will be hosting this week. They'll host the number 13 seed Norfolk State in the first round Saturday in the Birmingham 2 region. The winner will take on the winner of number 5 Alabama and number 12 Green Bay Monday at the Xfinity Center. So for those of you who have an opportunity to get out and go pack Xfinity, man. It's always a fun time. Maryland getting the host each and every year. They deserve so. Hopefully they're able to come out and make a run. See what they can do with it. That said, I know I was sitting there in Cardell. The first thing that popped in my mind when I saw South Carolina pop up, I was like, oh, this is about to be Maryland's bracket. It's just, last couple of years, you just get used to it. You almost expect it, and I was not disappointed. Let me just say that. I was not disappointed in the least bit. Octavia, I see you nodding your head.
Every year, I was like, are they ever going to get out of South Carolina's bracket? Like, I literally was watching. I was like, please don't. Of course, they're always in there. But I still got faith. But South Carolina's a little upset as well. So,
oh yeah, they're pissed.
Definitely don't want to see an upset South Carolina. So
they're beyond upset. 16 quad wins. You're not the number 1 overall one.
It's a lot of upset teams. Yeah. We need some new blood in the committee room, some selection committee rooms. Some of these old guys need to retire. But we're going to get to it.
Yeah, all of them. But we're going to take a quick look at these brackets. And honestly, I'm going to put them up with you guys. And you guys we'll go around. You guys just want to know your honest thoughts on them. Then, we'll get around to, I'm sure, what would be a very eventful rapid fire and take it or leave it, because North Carolina, I'm just going to keep bringing it up because it's disgusting. I don't care. I'm sorry. It's going to keep bringing it up. Y'all better win a championship. If they put, that's the only way I'll let this go.
They better win tonight.
Man, don't eat. But, all right, let me go get these brackets. I tell you, I'm trying to do right. I really am.
That's just reminded me. I don't know what time that game started.
Oh my goodness, just nasty work all the way around. All right, so this is the men's bracket.
9:30. All right.
We got the men's bracket. You guys see at the top the first four that are playing starting tonight, across tomorrow. Got North Carolina and San Diego State. Let's go San Diego State. I am proud of it. Y'all know my Twitter. Have at it. Mount St. Mary's and American. You got Texas and Xavier, Alabama State and St. Francis. Hey man, I guess we'll start up in this region right here with Auburn. You got Auburn at 1, Michigan State at 2. Michigan, Creighton, Louisville. A lot of Big East teams over there in that chunk. Malik, we'll start with you. Just your thoughts on this region.
To start off with the seedings, the region is a strong region. Louisville, Creighton, Auburn, Michigan. Auburn's going to have to either run into Texas A&M or Michigan very soon. That's going to be a great matchup. You got Michigan and Marquette. They're probably going to see each other in round 2. That's going to be a great matchup. I like Auburn. I like Auburn in this region. If somebody takes them down, it might be Michigan. It might be that Michigan, Texas A&M. But I like Alabama to play Michigan State to get out of this region.
All right, Octavia. Your thoughts?
I had to make sure I wasn't on mute. No, I agree. It to me, Auburn's been playing well all year, pretty much. It's really their bracket to lose, to be fair. But like you said, Michigan State can also, how well they've been playing as well. So they can also, kind of come up through there. But I expect Auburn to come out of this bracket. But it's definitely a strong bracket. There are definitely going to be some good games brewing in this side. Yeah, definitely going to be interesting.
Cardell?
Yeah, obviously Auburn's the favorite. They've been honestly smacking everybody. And they're the most consistent team and probably the strongest conference in college basketball history. 14 out of 16 teams made the tournament. That's insane, but it is well deserved. Listen, shout out to the commissioner of SEC. He got on board. He understood what the NIL deal was about early, and he opened the floodgate for players. Hey, all the programs can go do what they do, and a lot of the talent flooded there, and you just see the results, man. And if you match with the coaching and stuff like that, that's what you have. And their dominance has pretty much forced a lot of other conferences, especially mid and low majors, where if y'all don't get with the program, it's gonna be bad. Y'all not gonna. Y'all gonna need players to be able to compete, even if y'all get to the tournament, man. So, but with that said, Auburn may be the favorite, but it's a couple teams that I'm looking at that, can kind of, they might be able to pull off the upset. One being obviously Michigan State. I'm also looking at that Louisville Creighton matchup. Those two teams are dangerous. They got the guard play. They also got bigs that can get it done, especially Creighton with Ryan Kalkbrenner, All-American. The way he can stretch the floor, that could be a problem for Auburn. I know Johnny Broome is a monster. Don't get it twisted, but that's going to be a hell of a matchup between two possible first-round picks. You know what I mean? If they were to beat Louisville. So that's something to definitely keep an eye on in the second round. Michigan with Danny Wolf, I expect them to handle business. Danny Wolf, the way he can play, make, rebound, score. He's just a matchup nightmare that UC San Diego have to deal with. Texas A&M, they're another sneaky team. They're a team that won't be intimidated, obviously, by Auburn if they get that far because, they've been dealing with them all season. They have the tools. They know how to play against them. And they have the guard play with Wade and all them that can make it happen, man. And, at this time of the year, the guard play is what matters most. If you don't have guard play, it's hard to advance. Michigan State, their defense, their guard play as well. The only thing with them where their bigs consistently bring it, and that's something we are waiting to see. But obviously, Auburn should be the favorite in this region.
We'll stay on the same side of the bracket, move down a region. All right, moving down one. Florida's the 1 seed here. St. John's, the 2 seed. You got some heat in this bracket right here.
Yeah.
Man, heat. All right. You got Florida, St. John's, Arkansas, Kansas in here, Texas Tech, Missouri, Maryland, Memphis, UConn, Oklahoma. Heat in this bracket right here. Cardell, we'll work our way back, so we'll start with you, and then we'll go Octavian and Malik.
Yeah, I'm not even sure Florida is the favorite. You know, they're the 1 seed. And let me just start with this. Look, Norfolk State, I understand the MEAC isn't the strongest of conferences, but Norfolk State over the last 5-10 years have dominated that conference. They won multiple, conference championships. They deserve to have a higher, big. Come on now, like 16th every year. Like, come on now. They deserve to have a higher seeding where they not honestly just looked at as roadkill, because that's what the committee is. All right, you won that week conference. Hey, go up against the number 1 seed, get them up out of there. Hey, you got to dance a little bit. Congratulations. They got to stop that. They got to start watching these games and rewarding teams for what they've done throughout the year and how they dominated. You know what I'm saying? Because Norfolk State has beaten a couple other tournament teams. So the committee, like I said, we need some new blood, man. I hate to do the age thing, man, but you can just tell they're not watching, man. They sleep, hurting. Like, you need some young blood that's up watching these late games and understanding what's going on, so you can make sound decisions on who deserve what. But with that being said, Florida is dangerous, but I'm not sure they're the favorite, because, like, I think Maryland can give them issues. Hurley's crazy. I don't know what he got up his sleeve in the tournament. Now he can go crazy. You know what I'm saying? They healthy. They got a few games under their belt, in the tournament, in the Big East tournament, whatnot, to get as kind of healthy, because they were banged up throughout the year. This is the healthiest they've ever been. I wouldn't be shocked if they go on a run. Memphis won that conference tournament. Penny's on fire. They're dangerous. They got a lot of vets and the upperclassmen that have been in college for a few years. They're the season that's ready to go. And honestly, that St. John's is St. John's. We already know. Like, that's what I'm saying. People going to say Florida, but I'm not sure if they meet St. John's, they could be St. John's, especially if St. John's defends like they're capable of defending and they hit shots. And they got an All-American, R.J. Lewis. You know what I mean? So that's stuff. But then Kansas, they got, the guard play, they're a little wounded because they got a couple guys that's been out for the season. But again, you have an experienced Hunter Dickinson that can lead the way. And if you don't have a big that can match up with him, he can dominate and win that game by himself. So, yeah, this region is hell. It's going to be tough. I'm not really sure who the favorite is. If you had to pull my arm and make a choice, I'm rolling with St. John's, because of the coaching and defense travels. And they're ferocious on defense. And fine, they've had stretches where it's hard for them to score, but you're not scoring on them. And they can guard anything and everything. They got guys that can play any style against any team. For them, it's just a matter of their offense is clicking enough. And if they score enough points, they're going to be tough to put out.
Yeah, crazy bracket. Crazy region up here. I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy region. Like you said, from like just listening to since the bracket has been announced, a lot of people are kind of thinking that people are saying that, Florida's the favorite to win it all. As we know, they've been playing well, but they definitely, got a lot of things that they got to go through in this bracket. Like you stated, we know UConn hasn't played their best this year, but Dan Early is still Dan Early, and they're defending champions for a reason. I'm very proud of Maryland, even though I hate the way that their tournament ended for the Big Ten tournament. They've been playing very, very solid as long as their starters can continue to play well. Freshman of the year, Derek Queen had an amazing year as well. Him and Julian Reese. They can definitely make some noise in this. Like you said, Penny coming off of their conference tournament win in Memphis. We know he is. But then also, like you said, like St. John's, like coaching is always going to be, top tier and always needed. And we know the type of coach they have. I think they said this is like his 4th or 5th team that he's led to, the conference, to NCAA tournament. Like you can't really replicate having good coaching like that. And also, like Cardell said, defense travels. So anytime that you can lock in, especially in a one and done tournament, it's definitely going to help them out. So this is definitely probably one of the tougher ones. One of the tougher regions. I'm definitely interested to see how this shakes out, especially because I'm biased towards Maryland. But I'll just be honest with that. Hopefully they're able to get through it, and possibly really give because like you said, UConn could come out. Who knows? But it's gonna be crazy. So just interested to see what happens.
Malik.
To add on to what everyone's already said, the firepower over here is ridiculous. Before even getting into the teams playing each other, I just want to add on to the point that if you're a conference champion and there are 64 teams in this bracket, you should not be receiving the lowest possible game. Like Norfolk State should not be the 16. There are 14 teams in the SEC that made the tournament. 14 out of 16 or something 14. A conference champion shouldn't have to go on the road and play top 1, top 2, arguably every year the number 1 team in the nation in the first round of the tournament. That's just like putting them in for charity, just putting them in because they've won the conference, and at that point it's not giving them a fair chance. It's not. No one is the tournament. Everyone's got to play everyone. If you're the best, you're gonna have to beat the best. But at the same time, this 16th seed is specifically this 15th/16th seed is specifically held for HBCUs annually. The last HBCU to beat a second seed or a first seed was in 2012. Norfolk State beat Missouri in the first round, 86-84. Before that, it was for 2012 was 2001. Hampton beat Iowa State, and that was the 15th versus the second seed, 58-57. So even at these,
Kyle O'Quinn.
Yeah, like even at these points of just giving these teams that deserve to be in the tournament more than teams that don't deserve to be in tournament opportunity to say, okay, they won 25 to 30 games in a year. They should be able to get that respect, play teams, just to have a respectful way of bringing them into the tournament, to show them that y'all deserve to be here like everybody else. But that's playing forward in the first round. I'm not a betting guy, but the spread is probably like 30 points, something along those lines. But definitely like a team that's trying to play to get in or having won more than 2 quad 1 games should have to play a game like that. um, back to the bracket at play. Back to the side of the bracket that we're talking. I love Rick Pitino. I love St. John's. The more they win, the hotter they're going to get. More to win, the more confidence they get. He's a swaggy coach. If you see how he talks to the guys, if you see how they respond to him, defense travels, energy travels, courage travels. They have the courage to go beat anybody else. The further along the schedule goes into this bracket, they got Omaha first. Then you either go play Kansas or Arkansas. From that point, you get the fuel to go beat on Texas Tech or probably Missouri. And then you see a good Florida or Maryland team or that side of the bracket in a neutral game, both on the road. So at that point, you've got 3 games under your belt. You know you can win. You just went into your conference of your own to win games. St. John's back-to-back years, they won 20 plus games. They didn't. This is the Rick Pitino effect. I like Rick Pitino in this part of the bracket. But I also do like what Maryland's got going on. They're a little short. Not more so a little short. Well, as you can see from when they play Michigan, they don't have the vertical height to compete with the more so bigger teams that's going to grab all the boards and do those type of things. But they make way. Derek Queen, Julius Reese, they make way. So, if they got to see Florida soon. They got to see the Colorado State or Memphis. I like them to beat somebody that people don't think is supposed to happen. If they can take out Florida, then give me the Terps. Give me the Terps to see St. John's in that last game. But I definitely like Rick Pitino and his team.
Yeah, that bracket is crazy. And you probably pissed off two crazy coaches feeling some. Those are the type of people that find a reason to be extra amped up for any reason. Because I'm sure Rick Pitino's not going to say it, but pretty much Rick Pitino will be like, you disrespect the hell out of us. We should have been one seed. That's what he's going to say right off top. And Danny's nuts anyways. Like Cardell, you already said it. He's crazy just because he's probably in there telling them nobody in the world respects them as two-time champs because of the AC, because he's nuts. But again,
those Hurleys, man.
Again, the Hurleys. Like you said, I look at Florida, and I'm not going to lie, I feel bad for Florida. If Florida comes out of here, Florida, you deserved it because you went through hell to get out this part of the bracket. But you got coaches been in the deepest of waters that you got to deal with getting out of this. Go ahead, Cardell.
And the last thing about Maryland, to me, the key is it is Derek Queen. I ain't even talking about the offense. Teams are going to attack his defense. He's going to have to really guard. And in this bracket, it's a lot of bigs that will exploit if he's not willing to bring the energy on that end. And that's the thing. The guards, I think, already they experienced Gillespie and on the boys, Rodney Rice on the boys. They ready to go. Reese is Reese. He do the dirty work. You know, as long as he giving you close to a double game, playing outside defense, they're fine. Queen is the X factor. You know what I mean? We know what he can do offensively, but defensively, them bigs, they're gonna try to try to take him in the deep waters a lot. You know what I'm saying? You know, like they meet up with St. John's. The big. I just had his name. The center they had like 33 in the Big East. Semis and 30. Like he's an undersized big, but he's skilled. But he a rough rider. He tough. Like he willing to bang, and he got the experience on Queen being a freshman. That's something that's different. And with like a team like St. John's, it's just not him. You have to deal with the guards digging down on time and stuff like that. Now Queen can pass. He's always been a great passer, going all the way back when I first seen him in middle school or whatnot. But the defensive man, he gonna have to really get stops. And if he's able to hold up on that end, then Maryland, they definitely got a shot.
We talk about Edgy 04?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That he's a matchup nightmare. Like that's the reason why they're Big East champs. No one in the league outside of probably, I mean, Villanova had Eric Dixon who had outstanding year, but he can't guard him. Kalkbrenner out of Creighton, stretch big. He's 7 feet. He's good. But they can't deal with his speed and athleticism and stuff like that. He's a special breed. You know what I mean? Being whatever 6'8", 6'7", 6'9" in that range, and being able to bang, but get on the perimeter and literally guard point guards like Big East All-American, All-Conference, All-American point guards, and get stops. And Pitino let him go. You see what I'm saying? That's a luxury to have as a coach, man. When you ain't got to help, man, and that's the difference. But on offense, he's crafty. He can get his as well, man. And guards are great at being able to set him up where he's effective. And then if you don't keep a body on him, he's gonna eat you up on the offensive board. So, yeah, man, that bracket gonna be hell. Yeah, you're right. Whoever come out of that, you earned it. Only thing about that is you gonna have enough energy. You gonna have enough energy to keep going, man. Because you're gonna have to earn it. It's gonna be tough in that bracket.
You gonna get a T-shirt that said "I survived the bracket," and on the back it's gonna say "at what cost." Because what do you have left after it? All right, let's get to the other two sides of this things. Then move to the women's bracket. We'll start down here with Houston is the 1 seed. You got Houston is the 1, Tennessee the 2, UCLA in here as well. Kentucky, you got the winner of Texas Xavier for that 11 seed. Illinois 6 seed, Clemson. McNeese is in here. High Point, Gonzaga, Georgia. Malik, we'll start with you. Who you like coming out of this region?
Coming out of this region, Tennessee, Houston. Those are my top front runners right now in this region. We got a Kentucky team that they got some guys. I like Illinois. I like how Illinois plays defense. I like how they get spurts in their game. I don't think they can have enough to take down Kentucky, but I think they have enough to get out the first round, depending on their matchup between the Xavier and the Texas game. Tennessee, yeah, I just like the energy Tennessee has. They have some vets They got a vet guard in the front court. They got a guy. They got guys in the back court. I think Tennessee has enough in this bracket to where it's not. I don't think a Cinderella team comes out of this bracket. I mean, out of this region. I think a Cinderella team comes out of one of the other regions. So yeah, this region, unless the Cinderella team is like a 8th ranked Gonzaga, I don't think Troy gets it done. I don't think High Point gets through. But I definitely think an SEC team goes down in that first game. So high alert from Purdue. Purdue might go home, or high alert. Gonzaga's a 9th seed. I mean, they play Georgia's a 9th seed. They play 8th ranked Gonzaga. So I definitely think SEC team goes home early. But for this part of the bracket, this region, give me Tennessee beating Houston in a good over game. Whatever the points is at, probably over on the points there.
I'd say who you like coming out of this region.
Yeah, I think you named some good people. I mean, obviously Houston's the 1 seed in here, and Houston's played well all year as well. I'll agree that it's not that thick of a bracket region. You know, like you said, like Wofford, High Point, like a lot of them probably won't get through. I do think it will come down to the 1-2 seed in this one. And I mean, I don't know. It could go either way. I think both teams have played well this year. Tennessee definitely has the capability of knocking off Houston. So I think this is probably one of the brackets, one of the regions within the bracket. I keep saying bracket. Where you'll probably see, you know, most of the games go chalk. And I can see Houston and Tennessee being at the end. And I mean, I think it just comes down to who wants it more.
Cardell, your thoughts on this region? You muted.
Definitely looking like a Houston, Tennessee type of battle. You know, if they play up to par, they should be able to handle business. I know Kentucky is the X factor. But for me, I think the favorite in the field is Tennessee. Their guard play is ridiculous, man. Again, that SEC. Look, man, Chaz Lanier, Sakai Zeigler, Jordan Gainey, Egon Melishik Jr., 6'10" kid that can do it inside and out. Felix Akbar. They're tough, man. You know, and again, guard play, controlling the game. Very few better in the country than Zakai. He nearly averages, like, for every turnover is like 2 or 3 assists, man. He's averaging 7.3 assists for the season, man. But he's a demon on defense, man. He averages almost 2 steals. So the problem with Houston, they always got dogs on the defensive end. Like they just like a python. They just choke the hell out you where you can't roam and can't do anything. That's what they do. The problem with them is, can they score enough? Well, Tennessee can do both. And they're battle tested, and they got the guard play that won't be rattled by the pressure that Houston provides. Now, inside, it might get a little iffy with the bigs that Tennessee has, because Tennessee got similar to VCU, they don't really have the bulk. They got guys that are lean and athletic and stuff like that, which you know, helps. But they're going to have to be tough if they get that far, which they should get that far, honestly, on the battle Houston, man. But, yeah, man, I'm kind of giving Tennessee the edge in this. I just like their guard play. Zeigler and them boys, man. And also Chaz Lanier. You can't sleep on him. He's a sniper. Leading scorer, 17.7 points a game, but 40% from deep. And with Zeigler running the show where he can just make guys better, he's going to maximize what his team has. So they're going to score. For them, it's just being tough up front. So if they meet up with Houston, that's going to be my seed, man, because it's, yeah, man, it's just a matter, can Houston score enough? But we're going to see. We're going to see real quick.
All right, last but not least, on the men's side, Carter, we'll stick with you and work our way back. The last bracket, we got Duke is the 1 seed. Bama's the 2. St. Mary's and Vandy, 7-10. The 7-10 matchup. Wisconsin, Montana, the 3-14 matchup. BYU, VCU, 6-11 matchup. Arizona and Akron, 4-13. The 5-12 matchup is Oregon and Liberty. Last but not least, that 8-9 matchup, Mississippi State and Baylor.
No, let's keep it at 100. It depends on if Cooper Flag plays or not. With that ankle injury, we're going to see. I believe obviously they should be able to get through the first 2 rounds with him getting some rest. And it's a matter of decision. Like, are you gonna come back and play, or are you just gonna look towards the lead? You know what I mean? And that's the X factor. Also with their youth, they're very young, and then they're hurting as well. Malik Brown separated shoulder. They're deaf, man. So that puts a lot of pressure on Malik, on all those guys inside that have to deliver and whatnot. And the youngers gonna have to grow up fast. Like, they're gonna have to play well beyond their years. And it's tougher in this day and age, in a sense, with the NCAA tournament because guys are so much older. You know what I mean? You got 5, 6, 7-year players. Guys in their mid-20s literally playing, and that's just different. I don't care how talented you are as a freshman. That's still a different animal, man. But if Cooper comes back and he's close to anywhere 100%, 80, 85, Duke is the team to beat, obviously, in this bracket by far.
All right. Octavia, your thoughts on this bracket? What is this part of
Sorry, I was watching this playing game. I got a little real. Yeah, I mean, it's really Duke's. Like let's be real. Like, it's gonna go off the ankle of Cooper Flag. They held him out, of course, of the rest of the ACC tournament. They were able to win without him. And there, of course, are back and forth discrepancies about if he should play in the first game. I personally think he should at least get his feet wet. Him being a rookie, being a freshman. Granted, I'm sure he's played in a lot of big games, but he's never played in March Madness. And so, yeah, they do kind of have a young team. I'm looking at Arizona as well. Arizona has, they have the fortitude to be able to do it as well. But to be honest, like, I really think Duke should be able to get out of this bracket. Alabama, of course, has a good opportunity as well. But if Duke plays the way that they've been playing pretty much all year, and Cooper Flag is as close to 100% as he can get, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to come out.
Last but not least, Malik, to close things on the men's side of the bracket.
Absolutely. I'm going to go different here. I'm just going to talk if Cooper Flag doesn't play. If he doesn't play, give me Arizona and Alabama in that last game to get out the region. I think Alabama got some very light bump on their side. Arizona is going to match up with Oregon. They're either going to match up with Baylor or Duke. They beat Baylor twice already this year, double digits in both games, I believe. Caleb Love, honestly, veteran in the tournament, veteran in college basketball. I want to say this is his last year of eligibility. He shouldn't have anymore. So yeah, if it's gonna be a dark horse, if it's gonna be a team that has that story, Caleb Love definitely has that ability to get it done when the lights are the biggest, when the stage is the brightest. Alabama, Arizona, I like Alabama with some points here.
All right, I think everybody's agreeing. If the presumptive number one pick this year's NBA draft does not play, that's what we're looking at. Who's going to come out? If he does in fact play, he's 100%. As they say, chalk. All right, on to the women's side of things, because we will not do any part of March Madness and leave anybody out. All right, for the women's side of things, the first four, we got High Point taking on William and Mary. UC San Diego taking on Southern U, Columbia taking on Washington, then Iowa State taking on Princeton. But we're going to start in the Spokane region. We're going to start in Spokane 1. Malik, we'll start with you and then work our way back through, all right? So in this one, we got UCLA, the number one seed, which, again, controversies, discussions, all that good stuff, the funnest of things. Then, and that's in the 116. You got Richmond and Georgia Tech in the 8-9, Ole Miss and Ball State in the 5-12. The 4-13 matchup, you got Baylor and Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon's 32-2 this season. Florida State in the 5-11 matchup with George Mason, the George Mason woman. 3-14, you got LSU San Diego State. 7-10 matchup on that side. You got Michigan State and Harvard. And then NC State takes on Vermont in the 2-15 matchup. Who do you like coming out of there?
I like LSU to win some games. I like LSU to go see you at UCLA in the Sweet 16. And I like LSU to make something happen. I'm gonna go with the women's bracket. I'm not gonna go with the obvious, what everyone loves, but I'm gonna say I love LSU. I love LSU to beat UCLA down the line, Sweet 16.
All right, Octavia out of Spokane 1. Who do you have coming out?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. To me, it's easy. It's UCLA. LSU definitely has an opportunity. We got to see how the injuries are gonna shake out with Flau'jae as well as Anissa Morrow. Selection Sunday, they both were in a boot. So I mean, Flau'jae didn't play at all in the SEC tournament, and then Anissa Morrow got hurt during it. And those are their engines. Let's be real. So they definitely have the opportunity to do it. I don't know anybody that can really deal with Lauren Betts the way she's played this year. I can see also NC State, because NC State definitely has the heart behind it too, is our James. And they've had a really good season as well. So I could definitely see them coming out of their little side of the bracket and possibly matching up with LSU if LSU is able to come out as well. But at the end of the day, I can't see anybody really testing UCLA too much. Of course, it's March Madness. You never know. But UCLA, I don't see much happening to them in this bracket, in this region.
Cardell.
UCLA. We saw it up close and personal. Yeah, you better pray for an injury. It ain't nothing you can do with Lauren Betts. And plus, they're big, man. Like, they got 8 players, 6'1" and 6'7". They throw bodies at you. They're going to control the boards. They got excellent guard play, especially with Kiki Rice and Gabriella Jacques. I mean, you just got to hope they off. London Jones, she's shooting 35% from deep. Like, it's not sweet at all. And whatever they missing, Lauren Betts just cleaning it up and going to work. Sometimes it just is what it is, man. Come and play hard, do the best you can, and you might catch them on an off night, and then that gives you a shot. If they on their game, it's a foregone conclusion. And I'm not even that type. I'm on there like, man, let's go. Optimistic as they come, but we saw it up close and personal when they came to Maryland, and it can get bad. It can get real bad.
Yeah, I ain't even messing with that Lauren Betts. All I got to say is that every once, it's not often, we go watch a game or see something, and you just be like, oh, Shaq position, oh, Shaq position, oh, Shaq position. Yeah, that's all I leave watching Lauren Betts was damn. All right, we're going to move on. Carter, we'll stick with you. Very interesting. I guess this is kind of like the men's side of things. I don't know. We'll figure out if any of these regions have the men's side of things going on, where there is a bracket of death. Well, we'll go to Spokane 4, right? We got USC is the 1 seed, 116 matchup, USC, UNC Greensboro. 8-9, California, Mississippi State. 5-12 is Kansas State and Fairfield. 4-13 matchup is Kentucky and Liberty. 6-11 matchup is Iowa and Murray State. 3-14 is Oklahoma and FGCU. 7-10 is Oklahoma State, South Dakota State. 2-15 matchup is UConn and Arkansas State. Yeah.
USC should be, they got the edge because they got one player that, Juju, they got the one player that can just win the game by herself. If she goes off, when they locked in, they can handle business. But this is a tricky bracket. I'm not even gonna front. It really is. Iowa's still there. I know they don't have Caitlin, but they have experience. They still have a lot of good guards and an outstanding forward. UConn's the question mark, is which UConn team we gonna see? Are we gonna see the one that's been up and down the last few years, or we gonna see them like kind of reach the levels of hype that they had when Paige and AZ and all them came on campus? Are we gonna see them reach that? You know what I mean? If they reach that, then they got a shot. But that's why it's tricky, because you just don't know which UConn team you're gonna see. And I know USC gonna be ready to go. We saw them. Obviously, they came here. They're pretty loaded as well. and it's not just believe me, they got a lot more than just Juju. So to me, they're the favorite, obviously, being the number one seed, being on the West Coast as well. I know their fans gonna travel, make it a home arena for them, but I can't really see anybody threatening them. They might stay with them for a half, but I think USC by far, should be able to come out this bracket. Unless AZ and Page look like AZ and Page, that with the hype that they came in with, like they look like themselves, when they were looking like the first 2 picks in the WNBA draft when they first came on campus.
Octavia.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely should be USC. They definitely another one of those teams that got a chip on their shoulder when it comes down to these number 1 seeds in this tournament. Who's the number 1 overall, 2nd and 3rd, and USC probably feeling like they're the 4th best one or whatever you want to call it, and being in the bracket with Connecticut. I believe they played Connecticut this year. Yeah, they played Connecticut this year, so. That's definitely, it could be good back on either side. I also think you don't want to completely sleep on Kentucky. Georgia Amore had a great year as well, coming out, leaving Virginia Tech and going to Kentucky. But it should be USC. It's Juju, but Page and AZ. The last couple of games that I've seen them play, they've played a lot better. AZ's been shooting the ball very, very well. So they definitely have the fortitude to kind of stay with them. Paige, granted, she's had a lot of injuries. She does have a lot of experience. And then their freshman, Sarah Strong, she had a strong freshman year as well. So you can't leave them out. You can't ever count them out, to be completely fair, but USC should be easily, they should be able to take this away. And then shout out to UNCG Greensboro. They was my sister's school when I was in college, and one of my close friends went to UNCG Greensboro, and I think this is the first time they've ever been in the tournament. So good luck to them. I hate that it has to be USC, but I don't think there should be too much of a uproar in this one as well. Like USC and Juju and Kiki, Erfin, and all of them should be good to go.
All right, Malik, your thoughts on Spokane forward?
I definitely agree. USC, Kiki, the rest of the team that comes with them, Juju, she averaging 24.5 points. It's USC's bracket, it's USC's region, it's theirs to lose. They got to see UConn down the line. It's going to be a dark horse in this, on the women's side too. So I can definitely say today, in fact, I'm going to call it now. So in a few weeks, if it happens, it's going to be, and I said it, UConn is going to beat USC to get out of this region. They're going to beat them to get out. They're going to put it together. They're going to put it together in the Elite Eight, and they're going to beat them to get out of this region. Ball's just not going to go in the basket that day for Juju, and they're going to beat them to get out the region.
All right, Carter, I'm kind of aligned with where you are. It's a matter of since they've been in school together, since they hit campus, I don't think they've both made it through a year together perfectly fine health-wise. So, it's if we live in a perfect world where health wasn't an issue, cool, but we don't. And I think that the only thing for USC is you got some people who haven't been here, but big-time players, man, they shouldn't have the issue in this one. Going to Birmingham, too, though. This one, South Carolina, and upset South Carolina, pissed off South Carolina. Is the one in this bracket. 116 matchup is they're taking on Tennessee Tech. The 8-9 matchup here is Utah, Indiana. You got Alabama, Green Bay in the 5-12, Maryland, Norfolk State in the 4-13, as we discussed earlier. West Virginia takes on the winner of Columbia and Washington. That's the 5-11 matchup. The 3-14 is in North Carolina, Oregon State. 7-10 is Vanderbilt in Oregon. And then last but not least, 2-15 matchup is Duke and Lehigh. Cardell, you called it out about Duke very early in the season when it came to take on Maryland. You talked about what they could look like later in the year. A 2 seed that was well deserved by them. Go ahead, kick this one off.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it then. They weren't ready at that point. Maryland was fully healthy. They had experienced lot of upperclassmen and all that, and they kind of just the physicality got to their youngins because they rely on a lot of freshmen and they're led by basically sophomores, but they rely on a lot of freshmen to play a lot of minutes. But you could see it looked like Maryland was about to blow them out, and they fought back and made it a game. And I'm like, yeah, they're gonna be dangerous. And this was early in the season, so it's like by the time the tournament comes, ACC tournament comes or whatnot, I said they're gonna be dangerous because they're not gonna be in awe anymore. They're gonna understand I can play with these ladies, and then they're gonna be able to play with these ladies if that makes sense. And that's why they're the ACC champions. You know what I mean? So they're dangerous, but they haven't experienced NCAA tournament basketball yet. You know, that's a different animal as well. So, but I do give them a puncher's chance, so to speak, man, because they're super talented. And Kara Lawson, already one of the best coaches in the country. For them, it's really nothing else they're lacking other than experience. They have the talent, they have size, they have the coaching. It's just the experience that's not up to par, and experience is something you just can't get until you go through it. So we're gonna see how much they mature and all that. But they could be one of those special freshmen, sophomore-led teams that, you know what, like what you saw with the Fab Five, what you saw with the the great UConn teams, that Stewie and all them that won 4 in a row, and Tarazi and Super when they came in, they just ready to go. So it could be something like that too. They have the potential to be something like that. We definitely want to see. So I give them a puncher's chance for sure. Maryland, if Bree was there, I would for one, if Bree was there all year, they wouldn't be a 4 seed. They'd be higher. But that's a tough one because she's kind of the she's very similar to Cheyenne, as far as how they impact both ends. I don't like calling ladies dogs, but you know what I mean, super tough. And by far to me, she's the best athlete on the team. So not having her hurts a lot. They're gonna need their bigs to step up big time. Their bigs gonna have to deliver. That's the issue with Maryland. Like their bigs don't come to play. The Berry and all them, they don't come to play. It's tough. You know what I mean? Then that makes them a shooting team. And it's just tough in the tournament to sustain shooting at a high clip throughout the tournament. So, it's a lot of pressure on their bigs to have to deliver. But look, we just gonna keep it 100. Dawn, she's pissed. She's pissed. Team pissed. Yeah. Outside Maryland, Duke, those only 2 teams I can see challenging South Carolina, like giving them a run, but they're motivated. Wilson, we talked about off wax. It seems like for all Dawn has accomplished, she's still not being talked about like they would some fair skin complexion coaches would be at this time that have accomplished the same things. And I'm just keeping it 100. And just putting them where they at, Birmingham and all that. It's just, yeah, she's pissed. And you saw the comments, the post game, and that's all they needed. Now they're gonna be motivated to really, really show like, yeah, this our world. The rest of y'all just living in it. So they got to be the favorite, but I do give Duke and Maryland a puncher's chance to, come out of this bracket.
Xavier.
Ditto. I mean, like, I really don't got much else to say. Like, Maryland, again, I'll be honest, at times I'm biased, but, them missing Bree is going to be really, really tough. Shy is going to do everything she can. I think Smichael is going to do everything they can, but a lot of times they foul too much too, so at times, when any of them kind of get stuff going, whether it be Christina Dowsey or whether it be Smichael or whatever, they tend to foul, and it takes them out of their rhythm anyway. Then they have to come with people like DeBerry and Mia McLean and everything. Not saying that they're not good, but they're not, the focal point of the team. So if they can keep their hands to themselves and play good defense, they always have a chance. They're going to need Shy, of course, to be on both sides of the ball, both ends of the court. And they're definitely going to need Smichael to score like she scored early on in the year. Tibiasu as well. She grew on me this year as well. She has to, she spells Cheyenne from always having to bring the ball up, kind of let Cheyenne be able to roam around a little bit. So, again, they have a chance. It just so happens that they always end up in South Carolina's region. I will say at least they're not going against like 7-footers. I mean, granted, they have 7-footers, but I'm talking about the Camila Cardozas that literally just annihilated them in years in the past. Agree as well with Duke, but it's South Carolina. Like they got too much firepower. They got a chip on their shoulder. Not saying that they needed one, but now that they have one, it's only going to make it even that worse for anybody that is in that region. So yeah, I don't really see too much outside of those couple of teams. Maybe no, I'm not even gonna say that. Yeah, it's gonna be South Carolina.
Malik.
Yeah, short. It's no new words. If I say no new pages in this bracket, in this region is simply South Carolina's. I might say they're gonna beat everybody up in this one.
Yeah, my only little 2 cents. I'm right along with everybody. Like I said, Duke and Maryland with the puncher's chances. This time of year, sometimes all you need is that. But for both Duke and Maryland, there's so many things they have to do right to give them the puncher's chance. Like it's not equal footing. You show up as a puncher's chance. These are the boxes I have to check in order for me to have a puncher's chance. And Cardo, you talked about the loss of Breeze. One of the things where, again, no matter we talk about the men's and women's side, we talk about guard play and how important it is. That was like 1B is guard play for them. It's huge this time of year. And it was an experienced guard that you trusted to, again, for Maryland, things they got to take care of, to even worry about advancing, taking care of the ball, rebounding, and it's his overall health. Need Cheyenne to be as healthy as possible. Sailor Poffenberger suffered an injury around the Big Ten tournament. They need to be as healthy as possible. Like what they have, they need in its best, most healthy form. But we'll see what happens again. South Carolina, these committees got to stop doing stuff where you just piss off people who have great success in tournaments, man. Like again, like if I was Florida, do you know the nasty note I would have wrote the committee on the men's side? You put me in here with these 2 lunatics? What? For what? But all right, on to this last final bracket before we wrap things up with rapid fire or take it or leave it. We got Birmingham 3. This is Texas is the 1 seed here. Texas taking on the winner of High Point, William and Mary. Illinois, Creighton. Shout out to Creighton with both the men's and women's teams in the tournament. Tennessee, South Florida is the 5-12 matchup. 4-13 is Iowa State, Montana State. Michigan taking on the winner of Iowa State and Princeton in the 6-11 matchup. Notre Dame is a 3 seed taking on SFA in the 3-14 matchup. And then we got Louisville, Nebraska, 7-10. Last but not least, TCU got TCU and FDU in the 2-15 matchup. Malik, we'll start with you in this bracket to close things out.
TCU. I like TCU. I like how they play basketball this year. I think just the games that they have upcoming and the part of the bracket that they're in, that puts them in good position to be successful and good position to go into the Sweet 16 on the March 28th weekend and to sneak some games in when they need them.
All right, Octavia, who you like out of this region?
This might be my favorite region so far because I feel like this one will give us the most parity. Texas is a great team. You know, they played really well all year. They beat South Carolina, and they beat a lot of good quality teams this year, which is why they deserve the number 1 seed that they got. But Notre Dame, we're talking about people who got chips on their shoulder. You know, they probably thought they would early on in the year end up being a 1 seed and to drop all the way from a 1 to a 3. I'm sure Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles ain't really feeling that, as well as Neil Ivy. I look for them to be able to make some noise in this one as well. We know TCU and Haley Van Lith is her comeback year. She's been having a great year as well. So that definitely they have some opportunities as well. And then don't sleep on Ohio State. Cody McMahon is a monster. Like that's like you don't want to see her coming down the lane at times. So I think this one, and then Tennessee as well. So like I think this one is where we're gonna have the most parity. I mean, we saw what Michigan did to Maryland in the Big Ten tournament as well. So I mean, I think this one gives you a lot more opportunities to possibly see some upsets. If I had to really say who comes out of it, I'm gonna go Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is, probably really, really pissed off And we know they have the the firepower, Sonia Citron as well. Like, so if I had to go and try to do like a little bit of an upset, I would go Notre Dame. But you know, Madison Booker is she's really good too. So I think this is probably gonna be my favorite region to watch.
Cardell.
Yeah, to me, it's a 3-team race in that bracket. Texas, TCU, and Notre Dame by far. Texas, the thing with them, they're the biggest team out of those three that you know you could favor.
Yeah.
You know, Madison Booker, that front line, Madison Booker and Taylor Jones, man. That's a Taylor Jones 6'4", Madison Booker 6'1". You know, like that's a hell of a front court to have to deal with, man. And then Madison Booker, while she's a beast in the post, she can step out. She's shooting 43% from deep, man. Like that's hard to deal with, man. And then you're looking at Taylor Jones is more of a traditional base. She do her damage inside the paint, more on the defensive end. She's averaging nearly 2 blocks. So you're not getting nothing easy. You know what I mean? But then again, TCU, they're the smallest of the pack. So they kill you with a bunch of guard play. They just gonna wear you down, pressure defense, up tempo. That might play a factor with the bigs, you know, staying fresh and being able to be on point to dominate. But then Notre Dame got a mix of both. You know what I mean? And they got the most dangerous player in that bracket, and one of them, most dangerous players in the whole tournament, Hannah Hidalgo, man. Like she's been insane, man. Like 24, 5, and 3, averaging 3.7 steals, 46% from the free throw line, 86 from the line, 40% from deep. Then you got Olivia Miles adding 40% from deep, 49% from the field, averaging 16, 5, and 5. She averaging 1.5 steals. Like, come on, man. Like, it's not a game, dog. They got a hell of a balanced attack where, yeah, like you gotta match up with the front court and the back court, and then they have depth coming off the bench with this you got to deal with. So, and they got a battery in their back, man. We the 3rd seed for real. All right, all right. Like, it's the committee obviously wanted violence. Like they just want a bunch of angry people going at people. It's just gonna be fireworks, man. So yeah, this one. This one is mean. This is kind of similar to the men's bracket with St. John's and all them. This is
the one.
It's the women's version of that. So
Okay.
yeah, if you want to force me to make a pick, Hannah, my girl, man. I can't go against Hannah, man. That's she cold. I love me some Hannah, man. You know, and the sad and the crazy part is she had this game in 8th grade. That's like she been doing this since 8th grade. Like she's cold with her. Like I think she should go to the W early. I think she's that good. You know what I mean? You know, so yeah, if Notre Dame bigs, they up to par. It should be their bracket. They should be going to the Final Four.
Yeah, I expect straight violence on the women's side of all levels of activity. Straight violence.
Absolutely.
Shows. And again, Florida. I hope you're the only number 1 seed on either side. I feel bad for that. You ain't deserve that. That said, Cardell, what we got? Rapid fire to take it or leave it. Where we going?
We're gonna start on take it or leave it, then we're gonna do one with rapid fire. We're gonna get up out of here. North Carolina, you know we gotta talk about North Carolina. North Carolina went just 1-12 quadrant 1 games. Stacked up some wins late in the final month of the season. None of his 8 victories since February 15th had come against a team ranked in the top 65 again. Top 65 of the NCAA's net ranking. Clearly, North Carolina was the last team to get in the tournament. Even with that resume, got to make note that North Carolina's athletic director, Bubba Cunningham, is also the chairman of the NCAA tournament selection committee. They spoke about it after they made the tournament, said he left the room, but no one's buying that crap. What difference does it make for you to leave the room when you having conversations for weeks about who's getting in and stuff like that? These people really think we're just stupid these days. It's alarming, man. But with that being said, take it or leave it. North Carolina in the tournament, man. I'm gonna get straight to it, man. Octavia, take it or leave it, man.
Leave it, because I mean, honestly, this is like the first time in a long time I feel like everybody in like sports media like all agreed on something. Like I feel like it's like the first time like there wasn't like any hot takes. Nobody was like, no, I can see like everybody was like, nah. Like every single person that I heard was like, what? Like, so I mean, I'm completely leaving it. Like, I feel like there's no words to say. I think it all speaks for itself. We talk about the blue bloods. We know why they're here. It makes for better TV in their eyes. Of UNC not being in the tournament is just something that I guess they just could not fathom. It sucks, for the teams that do deserve to be in here. I mean, goodness gracious, they got West Virginia's governor or whoever he is out here talking about he about to start suing people out here. It's just crazy. But yeah, it's an easy leave it. Like it just doesn't make any sense. I think they said they only had like 2 quality wins this year. One of them was UCLA, and somebody else, and they've been getting drugged all year. As you guys know, I went to school in North Carolina, so I have a lot of friends who are involved in this Duke UNC rival. UNC has been down bad all year when it comes down to the rivalries of North Carolina. So yeah, I don't know how they can justify this with all of the things that we've seen. It's just bad.
Malik, take it or leave it. North Carolina in the tournament.
You got to leave it. 1-12 in quad 1 games. The other quadrant games they played nearly perfect records. Quad 2 8-0, quad 3 7-1, quad 4 6-0. But even still, these teams they're playing, none of these quad 2, 3, or 4 teams are going to go far into the tournament. None of them are going to do anything that shows that beating them is a team that deserves to be in the bracket. They've beaten Notre Dame, they've beaten Wake Forest, they've beaten Syracuse, Pitt, guys in their conference. They haven't beaten quality teams outside of their conference. Lost to Kansas, lost to Auburn, lost to Michigan State, Alabama, Florida, UCLA, Louisville, Wake Forest, Pitt, Duke. So you're splitting the series with people. You're not really getting. Yeah, it's just we know why they got in. So that's like when the kid in school, his mother's the principal or his family owns the business or something. They're going to get it regardless. But hopefully they win tonight. If nobody else seen, Alabama State just won the 16th seed on a Hail Mary pass, full court nearly, to win that game with 0.2 seconds left. So March Madness has begun. If North Carolina makes a run, if they make a great run, if they make well, at this point, the expectation for them is to win. Even though they don't have the team, but the expectation, because y'all got to win now. If they wouldn't have made the tournament this year, there probably would have been a record stating first time in X amount of years North Carolina hasn't been in the tournament. And it was just everything's about ticket sales now. Everything's about selling the dollar. So they couldn't leave North Carolina out. But they definitely need to be at home.
Wilson.
They could have, but that's nasty. They got 1 win over a ranked team. And then the 1 win they got, you could automatically take it away. They lost to a team that was ranked lower than the team they beat later on. Like, to me, you got 0 wins over a ranked team. It's just nasty work. Because if you take away the prestigious Tar Heel, we laugh at this resume. It's just right? Just being honest, if I showed you their record and didn't tell you who it was, I'd be like, that is not a tournament team. I'm looking at their schedule with their logo. This is not a tournament team. 13 losses, that's disgusting. And yeah, the only thing that's going to like make me ever be quiet or stop talking about this is the title. Like, y'all better put them in here and they win the title. If they go in, they lose to San Diego State tonight, I'm going to be unruly.
But you go.
Sir, unruly. Because this is nonsense. It's literally somebody was like, man, I got a little power to put my school in. Or I wasn't in the room. But you've been talking with these people all year. They in your phone. Y'all hate. Like, come on, man. This is just disgusting. And honestly, you know how they love to do like third-party stuff when it's time to hire people? Go give me a third-party committee. I don't want anybody. I just want people Your job is to actually watch the games. I know that sounds crazy, but all year, I don't even want you to know the players' names. I'm cool with that. Watch the games. I want as impartial as possible, because that way, if you don't know what the stupid logo is, you wouldn't have any feelings towards putting them in here. But this is not a tournament resume.
They ranked higher than the conference champion. They got to play a Florida Auburn team. They get
like you talk about West Virginia wants to sue George Mason. Why?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
That's who should have been in. George Mason should have been that they should have North Carolina spot. But I know they didn't even watch the games because Bubba worried about his bonuses. So and his mans did him a solid. Like, it's this because think about it. What are you telling these coaches and these players? What are they fighting for? How you get 26 wins and don't get in the tournament? And I'm not just saying that because I cover the A10 and stuff like that. Because believe me, if Mason didn't deserve to be in, they didn't deserve to be in. But they earned that. And they pushed the 11th seed to the brink. So if they push the 11th seed to the brink, they can't at least get a player to make the tournament? Oh, North Carolina? North Carolina. 11 opportunities to play teams that aren't in the tournament. They won one time. They only beat one tournament team. And they have 4 losses to teams that didn't even get in. Come on, man. Like I get it, man. Bubba owed his boys in the selection committee a lot of dinners because they held him down. They got him his bonuses, man. He got
real friends.
They need to eat free for a while, bro. They held him down, man. Those are some great guys. But North Carolina. Come on, man. You gotta leave that, man. It's just discouraging because, like I said, what are you playing for? You trying to get to that big dance and stuff, and it's just insane. You winning games. It's hard to win a conference. It's hard. One bad game is a wrap. So that's supposed to erase everything you did for the last few months. Like, come on, man. It's just this. Like I said, it need to be a change. And I'm with you, Wilson. I would love to see a new committee come in. Get some retired coaches that have no strong affiliation. Get some retired coaches that know the game, they can watch and have them vote. Like Tom Crean. See what I'm saying? Somebody like those type of guys, there's plenty of them, Jim Calhoun, have them vote. Because they ain't got I ain't got no horse in the race. I'm gonna keep calling a spade a spade. They need to be in. Have them vote. These athletic directors working for the school. You can't have that, man. That's just a terrible conflict of interest, man. And I know Bubba ain't up watching these teams. I know he's not. So I'm not trying to. You can't sell me on that. Like, I need to see Bubba 2 in the morning watching the Gonzaga and all them. Like, watch those West Coast teams. I need to see proof of that. And I know he's not doing that because he looked shell shocked when they was grilling him after that North Carolina selection, man. Like, it's so bad. I wasn't even thinking about North Carolina when they started announcing the teams. I was just like, let me see what we're getting in. Last team, North Carolina. What? How this happened? Then it come out Bubba. Come on, man. Bubba, man. He famous now. I give him that he famous, but definitely leave it. It was just disgraceful. All right, last
2 seconds before you go on. Just because people love metrics, right? There's the strength of record, right? For them, 38th in the country. You do not give somebody with a 38th strength of record bonus points and brownie points and help. They didn't even try to play anybody. And then lost to the people they were scheduled to play. My bad. Good.
Yeah, man. Rapid fire. We're going one question. We're gonna get up out of here. On the NBA side, man, it's been raining in Philly, and now it's a full blast typhoon, man. 76ers have ruled star wing Paul George is out for the rest of the season. George received injections in his left adductor muscle and left knee on Monday and elected to shut down their star player. The recovery from the injection is expected to take 6 weeks. The injury ends a disappointing season for both George and the Sixers. After joining the franchise in the offseason, George struggled to stay healthy and looked like a shell of himself when he was on the floor. In 41 games this season, George has averaged 16.2 points, his lowest total since the 14-15 season when he missed most of the campaign due to injury. As a whole, the Sixers are 23-44, 5 games out of the play-in tournament. Malik, your thoughts on Paul George not only being out for the season, but what's your thoughts on this whole
Philadelphia.
And Paul George's experience, man.
Yeah, I mean, when it's raining, it's pouring in Philadelphia. At this point, it's going. Is it the players? Is it a thing? A Washington Commander situation where it's the ownership, and they just won't ever be at peace till it's different ownership, or do they have to move the team, or are they someone's there that doesn't need to be there anymore? That needs to, and it's not the head coach. You know, they head coaches normally take the blame for a lot of things. They get moved in, moved out. People are paid. Paul George got paid. Joel Embiid is not playing basketball. He's super paid. So it's somebody's in the organization that doesn't need to be there. It's a disappointing year. A lot of people remember Paul George for his Indiana Pacer days. These are not those days. Philadelphia just gotta. Are they trying to win a championship? Are they just trying to stay relevant? Are they trying to sell tickets in Philadelphia? It really just depends on what they're trying to do here. They might be throwing the hood over everybody's head because it's going to be trash anyway. So if we can get the best player if we can get the best players off the floor, then maybe the media won't blame it on so much. It's still the players. They'll figure out. They'll just say it's the guys that's available to play. So. Philadelphia got a lot of things to figure out. San Antonio does too. A few teams do. So just hope they figure it out.
Artificial intelligence is the blame. Octavian.
Yeah, I got so much petty things to say about the Philadelphia 76ers. Number one, this is what they get for not congratulating the Philadelphia Eagles for winning the Super Bowl because Josh Harris is a hater because he owns the Commanders and decided not to wish us good luck in our game. So that's one. Secondly, I don't know why Paul George decided to come out and be like, I'm gonna wear 8 like Kobe. You know, he from again have several seats, sir. And the person that needs to go is Daryl Morey. I don't know why Daryl Morey's out here passing out $200 million contracts to people who can't stay healthy. Now, Tyrese Maxey, he's probably the only one of the 3 that really deserved it. Granted, I know Joel Embiid is trust the process and all this other nonsense. Process has been going on for a very long time. I'm sure somebody in the Clippers organization is smiling because they're like, I told you Paul George wasn't worth this amount of money. Here we are. I'm not surprised. It's the Philadelphia 76ers at this point. I don't even know what to say. I mean, like, shout out to Quentin Grimes. He doing everything he can. I mean, my man dropped 46 yesterday playing with, they almost won the game. I forgot who they playing, Houston. And they still came back. They still let Houston come back and win. He dropped 46 on an L. That's tough. So I don't know why we thought anything less was going to happen this year. Everybody thought when Paul George got signed, like, oh, this is the team. They're building this team to stop Boston. Boston wouldn't even think about them. They're so far removed from whatever Philadelphia has going on. So I'm just glad I'm only a Philadelphia Eagles fan and not a Philadelphia Sixers fan because they are trash.
Listen.
Yeah, tell Daryl Morey and the AI to leave the building, man. Josh, I know you've been busy with the Commanders. Slide back over there and get that ship righted, man. Get him out of there. It happened in Houston. People let it rock. He's done it in Philadelphia. At some point, it's a trend or it's just his track record. You gave him carte blanche to go in and do whatever he wanted in terms of remaking a team or whatever. This is where he has you. Hit the big red button. It is what it is. Like, you went through several different, not regime changes, but several different iterations of the Sixers before he was hired. And then look at what's happened since he was hired. Man got promoted while y'all not winning. We seen the Celtics draft. We seen the Celtics get old, get new people, get younger people, watch the younger people grow, and y'all are still like wherever you're still not where you're supposed to be. Your best players don't play. Just call it what it is. Your best players don't play. So what in fact are you doing? I mean, I don't know if you're paying these people whatever their price is, the going rate for their services, and they're never available. What are we doing here? And the person in charge of handing out these contracts is the architect of the team is. Man came over here, y'all had a young, talented center or what have you, and he tried to remake the Rockets. Where are we right now? So you're going to end up, it's going to be this time in history, going to look and be like, well, during this window, these are the talent. This is the talent that they accumulated in the draft. And this is what they've done with it. You got to cut bait. Like, stomp on the button. Pour some coffee on the console. Let the whole thing go up in flames. But this should be it. This experiment does not need to continue any further.
Yeah, I'm going to be brief. Blow it up. Build around Tyrese Maxey moving forward. It's the only hope you really have. I love what Quentin Grimes is doing, too. Move him into the starting two and keep him moving. Like him and Maxey, your backcourt of the future, and just build around that, build around the draft. But the problem is, you know what Daryl Morey is, the father of analytics. The analytics stuff, it has a place, but clearly, as we have seen with so many teams and over the last few years, it's not the end-all be-all. The good old eye test, knowing what you're looking at, matters. When I saw yesterday about the AI comment, I'm just, come on, man. Now, in a basketball-rich city like Philadelphia, now I know you've really lost that fan base. Because if they read that, no, I'm not going to no more games. I'm not even going to acknowledge I'm a Sixers fan. I'm a closet Sixers fan. You don't need to know until further notice. That's how it's going to be. Like, I will be on that because it's embarrassing, bro. You're going to a computer. You're employed to figure out decisions to these problems, man, solutions to these problems, and you're not doing that. You're relying on the computer. Hell, I can go to ChatGPT and find out a solution, man. What should I do? We all can do that. I need your job. So it's just these owners. Message to these owners: get some real basketball people up in here. That's just honest. That's what you need. You need qualified people within the game that have put in work in the game, have had success in the game, that know what they're looking at to make sound decisions, to build up your roster, build up your franchise, man. Because right now it's just epic. Like Paul George is 35. He's going on 36. His body's breaking down. No disrespect to Paul George. I just tell, like I say, to me, he's always been a tease since Indiana. He lost that hunger. And a lot of young players, like, man, he's my favorite player. What do we complain about this generation being? They look the part. Rarely are they the part. And that's what you've seen from Paul George over last year. He looked the part at time, but he's rarely the part because the part is every game. Every time you step between lines, they're delivering. Like SGA, he's the part. You see what I'm saying? Like when Embiid is healthy, he's the part. Problem is he's not healthy. That's the difference. And he's a tease. Tease gets you fired. Tease keep your franchise, average 500. Some seasons you do good, other seasons you do bad. You just tread on water. But then eventually people lose jobs. And you gave him around 200 M's for a 35-year-old whose body was already breaking down in LA to come here and to just play 41 games. He got to get injections and shut it down. And you really expect him to come back better? It's just it's just an unfortunate situation, man. They should have just let Elton Brand run that thing. I think they'd be in better position. I feel like when they undercut Elton Brand, it went down here ever since, man. So they got a lot of work to do because I can't imagine what's going on in Philly with that fan base looking at that, especially with the Eagles rocking and stuff like that. They probably just, I don't even acknowledge basketball season. I'm waiting for the Eagles to start back up this fall.
It's the only cover they got. It's just connect the thing between when the Eagles have activities because there's no basketball reasons to lock in. And I could be so much better on another level, but we're going to leave that alone. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Same time as always. Wizards Outlook, folks, we'll see you several more times this week as usual. Y'all have a good one.